The Bashar al-Assad regime is now a thing of the past. Damascus has fallen under the control of rebel forces backed by Turkey and Kurdish factions, with the United States providing underlying support. Panic gripped the Assad government yesterday as soldiers abandoned their posts, fleeing rather than confronting the rebels. Even the police deserted their stations. Damascus is now completely defenseless. The army and police who once defended the regime are now each looking out for their own survival. Although the whereabouts of the top military and police officials remain unknown, they are likely to have fled the country. Where is Assad? International media sources speculate that Assad is no longer in Damascus, and his family had already left the city. The last plane vanished from radar near the city of Homs while en route from Damascus, suggesting it may have been shot down. Returning to Syria, why did the Damascus army and police abandon their posts? It's because they, including the top military and police officials, witnessed the reactions of the people in Aleppo and Hama, cities passed through by the rebels. The residents overwhelmingly supported the rebels and were vehemently opposed to the nepotistic and greedy Assad regime. The rebels freed prisoners, including thousands of anti-government detainees. They then advanced towards Damascus alongside the rebels. At every step of their journey to Damascus, the local population cheered. This is where officials realized that they had been oppressing the people all along. The previous obedience of the people was not out of loyalty but out of fear. Now, they dared to rise up against the regime. In addition to the anti-Assad sentiment among the Syrian people, there were many ISIS fighters, al-Qaeda militants, and highly skilled Kurdish rebels in the prisons. All of them moved towards Damascus after being freed by the rebels. So, why did Russia and Iran, the countries protecting Assad, withdraw their full support instead of standing by Assad? Seeing that the Syrian army was not fighting wholeheartedly and was not taking serious action, Russia halted military aid to al-Assad last week, followed by Iran halting overland aid through Hezbollah Lebanon to the al-Assad regime the next day. However, Russia continues to provide diplomatic support, and the Bashar al-Assad family may have fled to Russia due to Russia's diplomatic protection. Meanwhile, Iranian officials have suggested that Assad should leave Syria and establish a government outside Damascus. These two statements send a clear message that the al-Assad regime is finished. Since yesterday, the Assad family has disappeared from Damascus, as have senior Syrian military and police officials. What lessons can we learn from the Syrian events? Internally, the Assad government operated under an autocratic system. Supreme and absolute power was held by one person, one family, or one party. This is called autocracy. Autocratic decisions were not limited by external laws or the rule of law. Instead, they followed the whims of the ruler. Certainly, there were no regular or democratic mechanisms of public control. The lack of democracy and the arbitrary changing of rules meant that there was no freedom of enterprise or freedom of speech in Syria. Political or business activities that did not align with the regime were criminalized and those involved were imprisoned. For example, Bashar al-Assad was not his father Hafez al-Assad's first choice. Hafez al-Assad ruled for over 30 years. His eldest son, Basil al-Assad, was supposed to succeed him. However, Basil died in an accident. Bashar, who was studying to be an eye doctor in England, had to take over the government at a young age. Therefore, Syria changed the age requirement for officials from 40 to 34 to accommodate Bashar al-Assad's age when he took over from his father in 2000. Okay, don't let your mind wander. Let's continue. Now, let's look at the geopolitical aspect. Russia and Iran, as protectors of the al-Assad regime, benefited from making Syria an economic proxy. Russia and Iran sold their products such as oil and gas, and they also became buyers of Russian weapons and other natural resources. In essence, when a protector country like China, America, or a Western European country that was once a colonizer protects a country or its officials, such as providing capital, loans, and encouraging the purchase of their products, as in this case with Russia and Iran, they are the ones who benefit the most economically and geopolitically. I hope everyone understands. Please keep your focus on Damascus.